thanks everybody for coming by, to this virtual Lightning Talks event, virtual Twin City Startup Week. Let me just share my screen real quick. That's where all the intro content is. Everybody's having a great morning so far. I know we're kind of earlier on the schedule, and so we hope this is a great kickoff to your startup week experience. Here, so we've got okay, cool. So the session you're in is Lightning Talks presented by Minnestar. So this is an event that I know Daniel's run at Minnebar for a while, and I've helped out with in other meetups from time to time. So we've got kind of a cool program for you today that starts out with some kind of pre-planned talks. We've been talking to folks ahead of time who were interested in sharing something with you today. But then also, later on in the event, we'll also have an opportunity for anybody who wants to share something of their own. So first, we'll talk about what Minnebar is. So Minnebar is a Twin Cities tech unconference that's been going on since 2006. It's one of those really special events where that brings the entire Twin Cities tech community together, not unlike Startup Week as well. It usually takes place on the Best Buy campus, which is this gigantic, sprawling event space. Turns into a sprawling event space that allows like dozens upon dozens upon dozens of sessions to happen simultaneously. It's super cool. Now this year, of course, that's not happening in person. It's going to be happening online. So keep an eye out for that. That'll be next month, October 6th through 17th. You can find out more information at Minnestar, MINNESTAR.org. Next, we wanted to talk a little bit about what constitutes a lightning talk. Sometimes there are different parameters for this, but for the purposes of this event, we're going to be doing talks that are around or under about 10 minutes. And the purpose of it is to get a lot of folks sharing, demonstrating, or telling stories, right? And the other part that's really nice about lightning talks is there really isn't any like topic area restrictions, right? So you can so some people that you see today might be talking about specific patterns or specific experiences or doing a certain kind of demo. But then you'll also see some folks who have talks that are maybe a little bit more lighthearted or focused on other aspects of tech that might not be necessarily just strictly speaking like slides with code, right? And that's kind of what makes lightning talks pretty special. And I mentioned this. Spoilers. There we go. We fixed it. So the last thing I wanted to mention before I, gave you a glimpse into the future was, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to open the floor to anybody who's interested after we go through our first 4 scheduled talks. So if you have an idea for something, if you have something you worked on recently that you're proud of, or an interesting pattern or idea or thing has emerged and you just want to see if other people have thought of it too, you can feel free to use some of this time to start preparing, and because we'll have room for you to give your own lightning talk too. So we'll get there a little bit later on, and we'll be ready to go. So your jeepers creepers, stuff falling off my desk left and right. Okay, so for hosts, you've got Daniel and I. I am a independent software developer, which is why there's the word owner under my name. And where I kind of specialize in the weird stuff. React Native, the thing that just fell off my desk was an RFID antenna, one of those things. And Daniel, if you want to give an intro, feel free to unmute and go for it too.
Oh yeah, I'm Daniel. I'm a software engineer. I've been hosting this for a couple of years now. And maybe we should just go on. Of the pre-planned presentations, we've got Rob and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Are Rob or Joe ready to go? Looks like Joe's ready to go. So Joe, would you like to present? You should be able to screen share in the app in the top right.
Hey-oh, there we go. I got you, buddy. Cool. I'll get my screen share out of here. Nobody needs that. Perfect. All right. Hey, buddy. How's it going? Oh, I cannot hear you quite yet.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Perfect. There we go. All right. I'll drop off. So
great. I have 10 minutes, right? I think
yeah,
so.
You're good to go. Yep.
Hi, everyone. Wow, we have like 140 people here. This is amazing. I'm going to go fast here because I got to get going, right? We got this like thing. Let's do a screen share. Okay. Click some buttons. I got a quick deck for you. If anyone has any questions, just yell in the chat. I'm going to try to keep an eye on that over there. And let's just jump into it, eh? Okay, I want to fix my windows. I love this platform too, by the way. And thank you to Brandon and Daniel for planning this, and Minnestar. You guys are the best. Okay. So many windows. Okay, great. So my name's Joe. This is Bechtel.io, super fast. I gave this talk, a similar talk to this at JSMN, probably like 2-3 years ago. But I want to just talk about a little project I built with my sister called Bechtel.io. Webcams are hard. Okay, let's jump in. Okay, so question. What do all of these films have in common? We've got Social Network, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Finding Nemo. You probably could guess that all of these do not pass the Bechdel test. What? You don't know what that is? That's okay. No worries. Let's jump into it. So we're going to talk about what the Bechdel test is. We're going to talk about the project I built called Bechtel.io. And then we're going to talk about lessons learned. Hopefully we can do that in 10 minutes, but we got to book it. So let's start. What is the Bechdel test? First of all, I do this talk usually with my sister, but allow me to mansplain feminist film theory to everyone here, because I'm sure that's what you all want right now. I'm not surprised if you feel like this right now. And you can officially mark your calendars. It's 0 days since you've been mansplained to you about feminist film theory. Officially. So you're welcome. But the Bechdel test originates from Alison Bechdel's 1985 comic Dykes to Watch Out For. And this is actually the original comic. So it's in a comic called The Rule, and it's two women going to a movie. And they're trying to figure out what they want to see. But one of the women has a rule for what she sees in film. One is it has at least 2 female characters. That 2 have a conversation with each other. About 3, something that's not a man or men. Pretty simple. And they make a comment how they haven't been able to see a movie since Aliens. Cool, or Alien, whatever. So pretty simple. When you break it down like this, though, it actually becomes pretty easy to programmatically analyze film scripts to determine whether it passed the Bechdel test or not, which I think is pretty cool. So, and my sister and I, we worked on this project together to massively analyze bodies of work to determine how feminist-friendly they are. But whoa. A lot of people have really strong feelings about the Bechdel test. Understandable. I get a lot of knee-jerk reactions, generally from men. I don't know why. But I just want to say a couple things here defending the test. So first of all, let me ask everyone here, do you like Return of the Jedi, but still hate Ewoks? If you understand that, then you understand feminist film criticism, right? We're not saying that these films are bad because they do not pass the Bechdel test. We're saying we're critiquing them for this one element, and we can still enjoy them and like them and still appreciate them as good films despite having poor female representation. Okay, right? Pretty simple. It's this lens for us to view film. That being said, Bechdel test is not a perfect test. So for example, it's supposed to play. Two women could talk about something like a lamp or a salad or carpet, right? Like these things are like very surface level. It doesn't actually show depth, but they would still technically pass the Bechdel test. So it's not perfect. The other criticism we have of it too is it doesn't transcend the gender binary. The Bechdel test assumes there's a gender binary, either male or female, and it doesn't take into account non-binary type characters. Okay, great. So bare basics, we got the basics out of the way here. I'm just going to talk about Bechdel.io real fast here. So my sister and I built a Bechdel.io, and it allows you to upload film scripts to determine whether it passes the Bechdel test works. But how does this work? So we have a sample film script here. Let's dig into how we analyze a film script to determine whether it passes it. So the first thing we need to do is break up the scenes. And if you know anything about film scripts, and I'm not assuming anyone here does, no problem, but there's certain keywords to look for, like int, exit, enter, that shows there's a new scene, right? There's like pre-subscribed ways of how you do these things, and we can show that with these words. It makes it really easy to determine. So we break up the scenes, and then next we need to figure out the gender of the characters within that scene. So we use that by using names, and we use Internet Movie Database, or IMDb as they call it. But we determine the gender of the character by whether the person playing that is a male or female, and it's identified on IMDb. That leads to some problems we'll get into in a second, but that's how we're doing it here. So we have determined that we have to determine whether there's two of those characters, at least two of them are female. And here we have Samantha and Mom. Cool. Passes. We're happy. Awesome. And lastly, we need to determine whether they talk about a man or men. This turns out to be really hard, and let me show you why. Also, bonus points in the chat if you can tell me what film this is from. I'll give you a hint. It was a Best Picture nominee in 2015. But let's jump into it. Are they talking about a man or men? So we have to film the context of their conversation and determine what they are talking about. So we see here that Mom is discussing your dad when she's talking to Samantha. This scene does not pass. But you also see here that Samantha is using this thing called "yes, sir, mother, sir." She's using this ironically, and this is hard to tell because patriarchal keywords are so ingrained in our society that it's hard to determine, train a computer to tell whether this context is actually referring to a man. Because at first glance, this is a man keyword that you may assume, but it's actually not a man they're discussing. I was also things like dude or man or hey dude, you know what I mean? Makes it difficult to determine whether it passes that or not. Right? So makes it really hard. Okay. So Bechdel.io, our test, I basically wrote a film script parser that does this, and we do a bunch of gender-based analytics on there too. I may have time to get into at the end too. And next, hey, you get the $1 million prize. It is in fact Boyhood. You're the champion. You're the champion today. Yes, Boyhood. Okay, so lessons learned. Patriarchal keywords super ingrained in our vocabulary. It makes it really hard to write manual parsers to determine context based on whether they're man or men. That's really hard to do. It's just so the patriarchy is we're swimming in it all the time, and it's really hard to determine what we're actually talking about here. So hard. Currently does not work with transgender characters. So like I said before, we're using, or non-binary characters, right? Because we're using whether they're an actor or actress on IMDb. And for some people like Jeffrey Tambor in the TV show Transparent, right? It's a man playing a woman, but that would not work on our app. Otherwise, again, non-binary identifying characters also would not work on here as well. So we need to update that as well. Lastly, this is really cool and something I've gotten really excited about, but there's actually a whole field of this thing called the digital humanities, and there's a ton of work here. And I know a lot of people in this room right now are probably interested in the digital humanities. Bringing our tech background to English and film and movies and music and trying to do cool work there, right? I think everything I feel especially Startup Weekend, right? I think there's a lot of pressure for us to monetize our work, but I think that you could do cool work and make a difference with tech and combining your interests. And I think it's cool that my sister and I were able to do that as well. Something I didn't mention here too, my sister wrote a research paper for a PhD and using my software and then analyzing the massive bodies of work to determine things. Spoiler alert, turns out female representation in film is not great, at least at a critical level, and behind and in front of the camera. Ugh, bad. Okay, let's see here. I'm probably running out of time here. Oh yeah, Lori Voss here, ex-CTO of NPM. Did you know there's a Bechtel test for code? I want you to think to yourself, do you think that your company or project passes the Bechtel test for code? But Lori's test is, it's a function written by a woman dev that must be called by another function written by another female dev. Do you think your code base passes it? Is that a problem? Maybe. Maybe. You should figure it out, right? Okay, I got a bunch of things here. Oh yeah, if there's a little QR code in the corner, you can scan that too. I'll have that up in the last slide here too. But questions in the chat. I think I'm like out of time. I'm not sure, but if you want to reach out to me, best way to get a hold of me is on Twitter at JoeCarlson1. Otherwise, I make funny videos on TikTok, and I Twitch stream on the MongoDB Twitch stream every Friday at noon Eastern time or 11 Central time. And yeah, that's it. Oh, thank you, Maria. Thank you. Yes. All right.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, Joe. Rob, can you present? Oh, sweet. Thanks.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. I have not been analyzing films, but I've been analyzing breakout startups in Minnesota, and I want to share with you my findings from the summer. Hi, I'm Rob Weber. I'm managing director at Great North Labs. We're a early stage venture fund focused on Minnesota and the surrounding region. Since our inception in 2017, we've invested $5 million into 12 Minnesota startups. You may have seen the news this past July. Jamf, which was started in a while back, filed for the largest IPO in Minnesota state history, $468 million at a $4.7 billion valuation. Did you know that Zach Homestead started Jamf in 2002 in the wake of the dot-com bubble bust, one of the last two recessions? So over the summer, this kind of got me thinking, what are the breakout successes that were started during these last two recessionary periods? And you can find the post on greatnorthlabs.com entitled Minnesota's Resilient Startups. And I just want to share some findings from there. I collected information on 16 different breakout startups, and which started during the last two recessions. So this would have been during the dot-com bust in 2000 to 2002, and then during the Great Recession of 2007 to 2009. And I, along with just capturing these 16 different startups, I tried to capture a public description of major milestones that those startups had achieved to provide some magnitude of their success. And I can share with you, as I was organizing this list of breakout Minnesota startups from recessionary times, that it was actually harder to find breakout startups here in Minnesota that were started during bull times or bull market times. So it seems that it's definitely a good time to start a company in these recessionary periods. So what's not covered in my post, I want to share with you a conversation I had with one of the 16 company founders, Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter started Ability Network in 2000. I did not know her prior to completing this analysis, so I reached out to her just to hear her story about Ability Network. Ability Network, for those of you who don't know, it provides revenue cycle management for the healthcare industry. And had some idea. This was 2000. The internet was kind of fresh on the scenes, and it wasn't certain how the internet was going to impact healthcare. But Anne, from her vantage point, thought it was that this would that it would have the potential to be very disruptive. And she recalls several times in telling this story about Ability Network when they were on the verge of going out of business or running out of capital during 2000, 2001, 2002 in the early days. There were several times where they were low on cash, and success was far from a certainty. And one of the things that I really took away from my conversation with Anne was the importance of equity across the early team at Ability Network. The team at Ability Network was willing to make sacrifices during this sort of dicey time, and that they were able to persevere. And ultimately in 2018, Ability Network sold for $1.2 billion. And I just wanted to share, this was not a local phenomenon only. Nationally, there were many breakout founders. For example, we had, in terms of companies that were started during resilient periods, we had Twilio in 2008, Slack in 2009, Uber in 2009, Pinterest and Instagram in 2010. And according to PitchBook, the median performance for venture funds founded during 2008, 2009, and 2010 performed quite well at 10, 17, and 21% respectively. So it had me thinking about a question: how do we scale resilience in our startup community? To me, there's a few things we can do. We can continue to make investments in the resources to support workforce development so that our startups develop the key innovation skills to execute. We can take steps to activate our past successful founders and operators to leverage their experience and guidance can be shared with the next wave of founders during these difficult times. If you'd like to see the full post, you can go to greatnorthlabs.com, scroll down and on the post, Minnesota Resilient Startups, and you'll see 16 different companies that were started during the Great Recession and the dot-com bust. That's all I had for today. I appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Cool. So I think next up, we've got Brian Mitchell. So Brian, if you want to click the blue button that says share audio and video in the upper right-hand corner, you'll pop up in my queue here and we'll be able to let you, oh, there you are. And then it does that good old-fashioned thing where it asks you which input you want. Once you kind of go through that flow, you'll be able to join us here and take the wheel. So while he's getting that set up, I think, the cool thing is that we've already seen such wide variety in topics here, and that'll only continue. So last thing I'll say before we let Brian go is that if you have an idea for something to share, remember there'll be some time at the end for you to come up and share your lightning talk as well. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Brian.
All right. I'm hoping you can hear me. I'm going to try to share my screen here. Cool. We're gonna, I need to, hold on. I gotta grant Firefox access to record my screen. Give me 1 minute here. Hopefully I don't need to quit Firefox. We'll try this. All right, cool. That is massive. Hold on. Let me, I can lower the resolution so it's a little better. Anyway, I can start talking at least. So this isn't anything super, I don't know, formal or anything, but I thought it'd be fun to just talk about some, fun Easter egg or goofy features, as I'm calling it here. Hopefully the screen, I might need to reshare that actually. One more time here. All right, that's a little better. So just some goofy features that are kind of like Easter eggs or fun things on a website that make it stand out just a little bit more. I'll just preface, I'm a software engineer here in Minneapolis. I don't have really any authority. It's just something that I enjoy to see that I think is fun and adds a little charm and personality to products that you're working on. I guess I can start with a couple examples here. So I saw actually this tweet go through this morning. So this is a screenshot from Webflow. Just a little bit of charm and personality that comes across with a little bit of a meme face here. I think some similar kind of things along this line are, I think over the years, you've seen things that, a little character on the screen that has eyes that follows the mouse around, that kind of spirit of things. It's nothing like mission critical to solving your app's needs, but it's a fun feature to just kind of maybe make a memorable connection or something to your site. Google is full of tons of these examples. Things like recursion. If you search recursion, it suggests, did you mean recursion? You click that and it, you keep clicking it. I think there's been some things around when Avengers came out, and there's Snap, that was a feature in Google, and do a barrel roll, I think, has been some other ones. Yeah, so I can talk over some of these points here. So I think it can bring personality. Hopefully it's friendly, and it maybe inspires your users in some way, and makes them remember your site and make it more memorable. And if you go really like all the way off, it can be a reason to share whatever you're working on. Maybe not necessarily for the right reasons, but it might at least get more people to view your content. And if you're more of a developer and things, it can be a way to learn something new. And that kind of gets me to my site, which I'll show in a little minute here. As you, if you have a new requirement for this fun feature or some charm on your site, figuring out how to implement that as something new to learn. Some trade-offs could be it takes time, depending on how big of a feature you want to build. That's definitely probably the biggest thing. It requires creativity. So I think a good example of some fun sites are if you just kind of search on the internet for, best design portfolio sites or best portfolio sites. There's a ton of like web designers who have built these wonderful sites that have lots of animations and transitions. And I'll demo this one I found here this morning. This is a bike website, and it's kind of that full page block kind of movement, but it's a very clean design, and it animates between these bikes here with the background kind of a parallax effect as well. So I think some features like this are quite memorable, and it really creates a fun experience for your users. Let's see. Yeah, so some examples could be, some animations like that as you scroll, not so subtle ones. So maybe something is really in your face. Micro interactions, so just like small effects of changing background colors, or adding some shadows, a little bit of movement, moving some things around as you click on it, or hover, or tap with your finger if you're on a phone. So those would be more micro interactions. Scroll triggers. So as you're moving throughout navigation, if you're scrolling down a page, it might change something. So that would be kind of how this works. This works a lot better on a mouse wheel versus a trackpad. It's not quite as jittery. So there's some trade-offs there with scrolling, especially. You don't want to do scroll jacking where you're controlling scrolling for your users. And then confetti cannons, which I'll get into in my site here. So I was just a few weeks ago, or a month or two ago, wanted to add a little feature to my site. So it's just a portfolio site, nothing too interesting about that. But I saw a tweet about the Canvas confetti library, which I have linked in there. Actually, I can share this GitHub guest into the chat. So I have a little fun mode here, using something called CSS Shake. So there's a button there, and then it just kind of confetti cannons, wild text effect, spinning things. I turn things to party parrots. It's a completely useless feature, but I had fun building it. I implemented it with some more modern web stuff under the scenes. So I learned a lot about that. And then it's just a reason to build something, add a feature. There's no way to disable it. You have to refresh the page to do that. Trade-offs. But like there are a lot of cool libraries out there. So this Canvas confetti one, for example, it's a library you can install into your site. They have a bunch of examples. Realistic look. They can do things like fireworks. So like you can find some of these libraries and get inspired to add fun features of your own. I think it's fun to just look around the web and see what cool things people are making with design and Easter eggs and goofy features. Yeah. Any questions? That's basically what I have. I just thought it'd be fun to highlight some and encourage people to keep building these kind of things on their own.
Cool. Thank you so much, Brian. Next up, we have Chris Black.
And there we go.
Cool. I just added. Oh, there you go, Chris.
Hello. All right. Can everybody hear me? Excellent. All right. My name is Chris Black. I'm the founder of Blacktop Interactive, and I have been writing software for over 14 years now. Gosh, it's amazing how fast time flies by. I've worked on a number of different projects at a number of different companies in Minnesota, and have been on both sides of the hiring process for technical positions. And when you're hiring, whether you're hiring a software engineer for an internal position or contracting out the work, the type of engineers that you hire are going to have a lasting impact on your product. In my experience as a software engineer, I've inherited a number of different existing code bases, most of which had little to no documentation. And this adds a considerable cost to ramping up new team members to projects. And sometimes the original developers are not available, resulting in the worst case scenario of needing to completely rewrite an entire project or a code base. And as someone who is either working on a development team or a founder of a company that is reliant on some software for your business, that should be a really scary prospect for you. And I guess my argument would be that instead of hiring engineers that can solve those riddles or, identify a palindrome, we should all be looking for engineers who can write well-documented code and are looking to mentor others and bring other people onto a team. So recently added a new team member to Blacktop Interactive, new employee, started about a month ago. And I'd like to share kind of how I modified the interview process to target more junior level developers and make the process a little bit more streamlined. Because at the end of the day, I felt that we should be able to onboard just about anybody onto your software project if you want to be able to have kind of a successful team and be able to have a lasting project. So some of the things I look for in terms of a new hire, not necessarily having as much software to look at, would be looking for volunteer opportunities and mentorship opportunities, because at the end of the day, a lot of the software side of things, people are going to pick up on and learn very quickly. But someone who's not interested in kind of mentoring or helping other people, at the end of the day, is just going to add more to that, basically not having that documentation and not having a project that is set up to succeed. And so kind of looking at that from the lens that every new employee that you add to your company is going to either kind of create that culture or break that existing culture. And so asked all the candidates that applied how they would test existing code instead of asking them to solve a riddle or solve a puzzle. And that actually resulted in way better conversations than having somebody try to figure out recursion or something else. And so what I ended up doing was having a code challenge that was much simpler, that asked a candidate to write a unit test for a block of code that they wrote. And that allowed me to see how somebody approached a problem without necessarily requiring that they have a computer science degree or be interested in recursion or algorithms. Often things that, I have a computer science degree, did a lot of this stuff in college, have used very little of some of that to date, other than in interviews, which is super frustrating. And also look for setup instructions. So if you're hiring someone, make sure that any repositories they have are clearly documented in terms of how to set up the application, or ask them to write some documentation, like API documentation, for something that you've put together. So at the end of the day, those steps remove a lot of the barriers of needing to have a CS degree, or you read a book just to interview for a technical position, only to just push that aside and completely kind of forget all of that after starting the job. And really the benefits of this are that you'll be able to hire more mid and junior level developers and create a larger, more diverse pool of candidates for your positions, instead of, again, bring it back to having those requirements of having developers that need to know specific things. And it will allow you to ramp up developers more quickly and reduce the risk of having to start over if your lead developer leaves the company. And so as if you're a founder looking for that first developer hire, or looking for a company to partner with, definitely look for those skill sets. Because if you bring on a developer who's going to then hire other developers that are kind of similar to them, you're just going to create a culture that's going to be really hard to unwind over time. And my challenge to all the software engineers out there is to really rethink how you approach the hiring process. Are your technical interview questions, just things that you found on the internet and Googled some, weird, tricky coding challenge, or are they actually going to be reflective of the qualities of the team members that you want to have on your team? And I can say that, a month in, having a new employee at Blacktop Interactive has been absolutely great. I set up the project in such a way that, from the beginning was intending to have other people jump onto the project, lots of documentation and testing. And so far, within a couple of days, they were already productive on the project, and we had a great first month, and have been moving really fast through all of the tasks and all of the tickets. And so to any company out there that, is hesitant to bring on a junior developer, I definitely would ask you to kind of reflect back on why that is, and whether it's that you've created a complex code base, or lacking documentation. Can you actually take your project and give it to another developer and have them spin it up without asking questions of the original developer? And if your answer to that is no, that you can't do that, then again, you've got a lot of risk on your project, and definitely something that you should be addressing sooner than later. I'm definitely interested in kind of expanding Blacktop Interactive, adding a few more team members into next year, and would like to continue to be able to bring on more junior developers. So if anybody has any insights, both from a negative job interview experience, we've all got those, or from a really positive interview process, would definitely love to hear any other people's perspectives on this, so that I can help build more of a clearer picture on kind of what the process can be to help everyone else out there. And if anyone is interested in seeing the code challenge that I sent out to everyone, definitely ping me. Happy to send either employers or employees the code challenge that I put together. So I'll leave you with that. If you're a software engineer in the position of hiring, I would encourage you just to take a step back and really spend some time thinking about your interview process and whether or not it's actually working to bring the people into your company that you ultimately want to have. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. I think next up, we've got Matt, and then AJ, and then if there's time, Olaf, what we'll do is we'll check in after AJ's talk, and could just kind of see where we're at time-wise. We might lose the room, which I guess maybe I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. But we'll keep you posted at that point. We just have a couple things to do in closing, so we'll check in after the next two talks. So Matt needs like 5. Okay. AJ, do you want to go next? All right, AJ. So if you click that button up in the upper right-hand corner that says share audio and video. Oh, there you are. Of course. Every time by the time I finish saying that word, they're all ready to go. Perfect. Awesome.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, AJ.
Can you guys hear me okay, Brandon? I sound all right?
Yeah, you're perfect.
Great. All right. Hey, everybody. My name is AJ Steibenberg. I lived in Minneapolis since I came to school here at the U of M in 2009. I'm currently working for a company called Serverless Inc. Actually, fun fact, executive director of Beta, Casey Schultz, used to work here. So nice to talk to you, Casey. Today, I want to talk to you guys about serverless components. This is a new thing we've been working on. We kind of been getting ready for a launch. Actually, we're going to be making kind of a big splash, I think, later next week. But I want to talk a little bit about what it is, what it does, and why you may consider it for your organization. So serverless apps, kind of like the name implies, it's serverless. So instead of managing an actual server, getting an EC2 instance from something like Amazon or GCP, what you can do is actually use something called Lambda, which is this technology that's like a function as a service. And the way that works is you basically upload your code to one of the major clouds. Lambda is just Amazon's brand name, but Google has one, Azure has one, all the major clouds have a function as a service platform. And it lets you just upload your business logic. So you just kind of focus on building your app. and you don't have to really worry about the managing and sort of the security and the scalability of your platform. So we think it's a really great way for people who are trying to get their startup off the ground or launch a side project to start. You get a lot of benefits. You pay per use, so you don't pay for any idle. If nobody's requesting, nobody's going to your website, you're not paying for a server to sit there and spin idly. And you don't have to worry about security. You don't have to worry about patching, any sort of server, any sort of maintenance. You sort of just kind of deploy your code and go. So let's just take a quick look at kind of what this looks like. Before I start, the only caveat being I'm using AWS for this demo. So if you want to do the same thing, you have to have an AWS account, have credentials, kind of get that set up in your local environment. I'm sure some of you folks may, some may not, but just be forewarned. Okay, share my screen. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna have to make this a little bigger. So, all right. So what I have pulled up here is just kind of my dashboard. This is sort of a SaaS product that anyone can use. It's completely free to use. We have kind of a free tier like you would see at like Netlify or a site. You don't have to use this. You can use it entirely for the CLI, but because this is a demo and it pops a little better, I'm going to use it. So I'm logged in. I'm going to click create an app. So we have kind of a whole tray of all these different serverless applications, and they run much like you'd expect. Like we have an Express app, we have a React app, we have existing serverless framework projects if you already have one. If you like GraphQL, if you like Vue, if you just want to deploy something on a cron, like on a timer, if you are, a DevOps nerd and you love your CloudFormation, you can write your entire CloudFormation templates and manage them entirely from here, and so on and so forth. At the end of this lightning talk, I'll show you guys where you can write your own serverless components. They're really fun, they're really easy. But let's get started. Express. So I'm going to just give this a name. We'll just call it TC Startup Week Express. So it's going to create this application, and it's going to tell me to prompt and run this like little init command. I'll go ahead and do that. So I'm in my demos directory, and I'm just going to run serverless init with this little code that the website generates. It's going to go ahead and unpack that. That happened really fast. Hopefully, let's see if we can make this a little bit bigger. It unpacks everything, and it installs all the node modules. In this case, this is serverless Express is a node library, node package. So go in here. We can kind of take a look around. There are, let's get a T-Bugs here. Okay. So there are a few things that you see right off the bat. There's a serverless.yaml file. There's a package.json, which shouldn't surprise anybody if you're kind of used to Node, and there's an app.js. Let's take a look at the serverless.yaml. It has a few kind of metadata things, right? Org, app, component. Then there's also like this inputs block. Now the inputs block is just like a directory for the source, right? So we can actually take a look and see what the app looks like. If you're familiar with Express, this is going to look really, really, really straightforward, right? You have your routing, you have your error handler, and you're just at the very end exporting your app. So here's the cool thing about this. Let's just run SLS dev. So dev mode is like a live server. It'd be a lot like running run watch if you're using like Node locally, except it's actually running on the cloud. So this is actually running inside of Lambda. It takes a little bit to stand up the very first time, but it's ready here. Here's my API URL. So I can click this. Oh, it looks like it's not quite up yet. Sometimes this takes a second. There we go. Okay, so we have a GET request that came through. It's just logging out. So if I, PC startup, it'll say it got that. But what's cool is we're streaming logs directly to your terminal here. Now, this isn't running on my laptop. I didn't have to install anything special to do this. I'm not running, any emulators. I'm not running any servers locally. This is a real domain. I mean, you can copy and paste this into your browser right now and go, and it's live, right? So I can just go ahead and edit app.js and say, okay, and we'll just log that out. Okay. I didn't add a semicolon. So you can see it's deploying. So it's just pushing it right out. Super fast deployments. We're trying to do under 3 seconds. And now when I refresh this page, you can see, hey, I got this request. TC startup is the path. We can do whatever we want here, right? So this is a very simple way you can get an Express server running, get it fired up, start your idea, right? Start your little side project, or build a new service, build a new backend service, something that you can use for your company, your side project, whatever. We've been running it in production for probably about 7 or 8 months right now. I really like the new development experience for components. I think it's a really fast feedback loop. I basically have one of these things open all day as I'm coding. I can just edit everything as I save it. It automatically watches and deploys, and I can just keep working inside my editor and keep working inside my browser. So if you're interested in this, if you want to help out, if you want to build your own component, the project is just serverless/components. And then this is the CLI tool that I'm interacting with. So you can see there's all sorts of documentation here. We have lots and lots of templates you can get started with. If you want to write your own, we do have a community repo here. You can see where they are. You can grab a lot of these. They're for different clouds, DynamoDB, website, full stack, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're interested in this, highly recommend you check us out. You can find us on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter as well. You can find us on GitHub. It's kind of all over the place. So that's it. I really wanted to just keep this short and sweet. That is my lightning talk.
Awesome. Thanks, AJ. I mentioned in the chat that I remember you mentioned working on this a while back at Serverless MN, back when we could meet up IRL. So it's so cool to see this in production. So
yeah, thanks. It's been a long. I mean, there's about 8 of us, so it's a long process. We maintain a lot of open source code, so it takes a bit to get it off the ground. But glad you guys liked it. Thanks again for letting me show.
Absolutely. All right. So next up, we've got Matt Takir. So Matt, if you're around and ready, Riley, I always say IRL. I'm unfortunately the most boomer millennial Gen X Gen Zer there is, so I just pronounce all the acronyms, unfortunately. Matt, you should be ready to go in a second once you get your audio and video stuff configured, and then we'll let you take the lead. Perfect.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
We have both audio and video for you, my friend.
Oh my gosh, it's working. Okay, one sec. I got one more picture. I got to drop it in, and my presentation is ready. This is the most exciting, stupidest idea I've ever had on a Tuesday morning.
I love it. That's perfect. I'm gonna tweet that. That's a great quote.
Okay. All right. Close my windows down. Let's see if I can get this to share my screen. If this works with multiple monitors. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Do I need to set a timer or something, or are you just
we got you.
Cut me off? Okay. Cool. All right, everybody. So this is my harebrained idea about let's talk about pizza. For those of you who do or don't know me, I'm a software engineer, founder of a business called the Invisible Network. But really, what's most important is that I'm a pizza enthusiast. And so we're going to go off my very quick off the cuff list of the top 10 pizza places in Minnesota. Unfortunately, I think this list would have been different if you asked like a year ago, because I think some businesses have closed due to COVID. So let's do this. And for funsies, if you want to drop your favorite pizza place in the chat, this will be great because you'll remind me about things that I completely forgot about that probably should go high up on the list. So let's go. Let's kick this off. I gotta hit the right window. All right, number 10. We're counting down from 10 to 1. Parkway Pizza. I feel like presumably a lot of people have had this already. They're very like traditional Midwest pizza, square cut. They're like a staple in Longfellow and up in Northeast. Very good. 5 out of 5 would recommend, but there are others that are better. Number 9, Football Pizza / Crescent Moon Pizza. They're up in what is it? They're up in Northeast. I think that they originally were on 24th and Central, and it's like, I feel like when I originally heard about it, it's like it's an Afghani style pizza in the shape of a football, and I was skeptical, and I had it, and I was like, this is amazing. Worth noting is that the green sauce in the pictured here in the top left is very good. You want to get the green sauce. When I lived in Northeast, it was like you get like the extra meat or the meat spicy version, and it's just incredible. I think they had a location on Como, like 18th and Como or so, but that might be closed, and so I think that they still have the original location at 24th or so and Central. Number 8. So disclaimer, I have never had this, but I've heard it's very good, and so I presume once I actually try it, I might think it's better or worse, unclear. But Pig Ate My Pizza, it's up in, is it Robbinsdale, I think? It's done by the same folks who do Travail. I've heard good things, haven't had it. So this is a beautiful picture of a pizza that I would like to eat. Number 7, Mesa. You all probably know about the Dinkytown / University area staple of incredibly large pizza slices that most people have probably consumed after midnight, give or take. This is the mac and cheese pizza. Their slices are very big. They're good. Number 6, this is a last minute change. Thanks, Brandon. 10:30 a.m. at Mesa. Yes, good call. So Birch closed due to COVID, but so Birch in Uptown, they have like the steakhouse on the main floor, and then in the basement they had this like pizza place in the bar, and they had pretty solid pizza. It was a surprisingly solid pizza, but I know that I think that they're closed indefinitely due to COVID, and that was pretty early on in COVID. So another last minute switcheroo. I've heard amazing things about Hello Pizza. I've not yet had it, and so once I try it, I'm sure Hello Pizza could go up or down the rankings. Unclear. I'm sure friends and fellow pizza enthusiasts would want to argue about this one. But Hello Pizza is a place that I need to try, that I've heard good things. So hopefully you'll be inspired to try this too. Number 5, this one is very much like a personal preference. I am a sucker for deep dish pizza, and I love Italian Pie Shop's deep dish. They have like a deep dish, extra meat pizza or something, and I love it. The one thing to note, and my wife is like oddly particular about this, she hates Canadian bacon on pizza, and so when we get the deep dish meat pizza, we get it without Canadian bacon. I know she has a lot of opinions about food, but I really like Italian Pie Shop. So they're my sleeper pick for places you might not have heard of that are really good. They're on Grand in St. Paul, kind of near McAllister and Mac Groveland. And then they also have like 2 other locations that are like weirdly out in the suburbs. I don't even know where they are. I just know that they have other addresses and locations. Okay, number 4, we're getting to the top 3. Black Sheep. I feel like some people want to poo-poo this, but their coal-fired pizza is pretty solid. The one pictured is their meatball pizza, and it's very good. It's got meatballs and ricotta and I think garlic on there too. And it's solid. I feel like when I first tried it, I was like, wow, this is really good. This is totally like top 3. But subsequently others have bumped Black Sheep down the list. All right, are you ready for number 3? Okay, Jenna has mixed feelings. Yep. Yeah. I think that's perfectly reasonable. People have mixed feelings about Black Sheep, and that's okay. Number 3. All right. Number 3 is Punch. This is probably one of my favorite pizzas for like consistency and value. And I should mention that my favorite thing on the menu is not actually a pizza. This is like a really big deal. This is why Brandon's so excited about this. So on the left, you have one of their traditional margarita pizzas. It's very good. They cook really fast, and so you kind of need to like eat it right when it's hot out of the oven. Otherwise, if you picked it up and you brought it home like 15, 20 minutes later, it might kind of be soggy. So that's the hot tip, is you kind of got to eat Punch fresh. But here's the surprise, is that on the right-hand side, the Pulcinella, it's a salad inside a flatbread. And you just kind of have to take my word for it. It's incredible. It's better than their pizza. Get their what is it called? The Punch salad Pulcinella. And that's what presumably this really poor picture on the right looks like. Trust me that when you eat it and you taste it, it's gonna blow your mind. People have died because of they fought over and died because of this. I don't know if that's true, but it's good. All right, number 2, Boludo. They were like they came out of nowhere in the last year or so, and they're incredible. It's like an empanada shop at 38th and Nicollet, and they do empanadas and they also do pizzas. And it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like the crust is like, it's like light and fluffy and sort of buttery and airy. It kind of feels like a true like baker's crust. And then the toppings, like, look at it. It's just like, it's got cheese. It's got like the sauce is a little sweet, but they also like sprinkle some like finishing salt on there. So like somehow it's all really, really, really well balanced. Boludo's like, I don't think anybody expected Boludo to be like one of the top best pizza places here in the cities, coming out of an empanada shop, but it's very, very, very good. yeah, I don't know much what more there is to say. Oh, it's tiny too. So if you order, you probably want to call an order and take it out. The entire place is probably 6 feet by 6 feet. Like, you're gonna get COVID if you sit around and eat there. So you probably should just take it out. Okay, number one. Drum roll, please. Young Joni Pizzeria Lola. This is Brandon Johnson's favorite pizza place because he lives right around the corner from it. But there's something to be said that they consistently put out really good stuff. And this is their Korean barbecue pizza. It doesn't have any red sauce. It's Korean barbecue, it's cheese, and it's got this sort of dressed arugula, spicy Korean sort of salad stuff on top, and it's very, very good. Sorry to dox you, Brandon. My apologies. But that's my top 10 pizza list. It's all off the cuff. I hope I haven't offended too many people, but hopefully you all want to eat pizza for lunch now too. And with that, here's my one aggressive pitch. We're forming a group of pizza enthusiasts, and it's called Frozen Pizza Club. And we started posting reviews on Instagram. So if you're interested in that, check out the website or check out our Instagram. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Matt. I keep saying that I'm gonna get a pizza from Young Joni and then put it in the freezer, and then put it in the oven the next day and review it for Frozen Pizza Club. But Matt keeps saying that that's not sufficient. That's not allowed. So just tell him in the chat what you think about that take there, and we'll see. We'll let the community decide. Thanks, Matt. That's awesome. I always loved seeing your pizza antics. So I think we're coming up on 11. But I think one of the magical things about the internet, prove me wrong, is I think we can probably fit maybe one more. So Olaf, if you wanna, yeah, there you go. You're ready to go in the chat. I'll add you in here, and then we'll as you get set up, we'll let you get going, and then we after this we'll just have a couple minutes of closing, and then we'll be good to go. All right, perfect. You're in. I want to do an audio check real quick. I cannot hear you. We might just need to switch your microphone input, something like that. Yeah, it's still not working. Okay. Let's try. Trying to think of what our approach might be. You want to try reloading the page and just try again? Just hop off and then hop back in. Okay, perfect. While we're kind of getting that tested out here and getting Olaf back in, I think I just want to, reiterate our appreciation for all of the folks who came up and spoke today. One of the things that really makes Lightning Talk events like this so cool is that we have such a variety of topics, and we've already seen that today. Olaf, you want to try audio again? I still can't hear you. Yep, nothing. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I think we are kind of running low on time. I think we'll let Maria say a few words about Minnebar real quick, and then that'll probably bring us to closing. So Maria, looks like you're ready to go. I want to do an audio check here real quick too.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Perfect. Awesome. Okay.
Great. Awesome. Everyone, thank you so much. All of the speakers. I love lightning talks because just the variety of different topics that come up, and it is just so fun. I'm going to share my screen really quickly just to give a quick plug here for Minnebar, which is coming up. So let me do this really quickly here. All right. So, can y'all see this? hopefully you can. We're going to be talking about just giving you an update on where we're at. So Minnebar, like Brandon and Daniel were talking about, if you've never been before, this is typically like a massive 1,500 people getting together for one day of a unconference. So topics can range from anything. So Lightning Talks is a really good example because it is kind of like a little microcosm of what makes Minnebar so awesome. So we're going to be doing it virtually. We're spreading it over the course of 2 weeks, just on some mornings, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. One thing I want to show y'all, and hopefully this works when I, oh, there we go. This is the sessionizer. So this is where you can submit a session, where you can see what sessions have already been posted. And this is what makes Minnebar so great, because it's not curated by us. It is really by and for the community. So I want to encourage everyone to go to sessions.minnestar.org to take a look at some of the sessions that have been added so far, and then add your own. The sessions for this one, since it's virtual, they're going to be 25 minutes long. It is a really cool opportunity. It'll be hosted probably on Crowdcast, but it's really similar to Hopin in the sense that there's a lot of interaction. You can engage with the community. Yeah, and we would just love to hear what you're working on, what you're learning, and what you want to share with the community. So that's about all I got. But if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. So.
Way cool.
Come join us. It's going to be super fun.
I'm excited. I'm going to start prepping my sessions. Hopefully. Yeah. We'll hopefully we'll see some folks in the chat too. I know our frequent Minnebar presenters. So hope to see everybody out there.
Definitely. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Well, this just about wraps up our session. Thanks everybody for sticking around. If I know Daniel's been keeping up in the chat. Daniel and Maria have been keeping up in the chat with links that folks have shared. Follow our speakers on Twitter. See y'all at Minnebar, hopefully. And if not, we'll see y'all around the internet. Thanks for coming out here. We'll catch y'all at the next thing.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. See you at Minnebar.